Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing yet another movie review. This movie is a horror film from France, French language English subs, released in the year 2021, directed by Zoran and Ludovic Bukama, and this film is called Teddy. So Teddy's about a young man. He is a very mischievous man. He's not a bad guy, but he doesn't have any direction in life, so he's very immature. He has a girlfriend that he loves very much, but whether or not she loves him in return remains to be seen. And so he realises that they're growing further and further apart, so he has to concentrate on this relationship and also concentrate on keeping his job at a massage parlour. He doesn't like the job, but he's been forced to do this because he's got no other options. So one night, everything is about to change when he's bitten by an animal. So he goes to the doctor. The doctor says nothing's wrong, that if he takes antibiotics, he'll be feeling better in no time. But then as the days progress, he starts to develop very strange feelings within his body that force him to realise that he is about to embark on a living nightmare. So what that nightmare is, something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Teddy. This is a Shudder original. Now if you are familiar with my channel and have been watching my recent reviews, I had been burnt on Shudder as far as French movies are concerned with Candisha. Candisha was directed by two of my favourite directors in French horror, and it turned out to be one of the worst films of the year. So coming into Teddy, I was very cautious. I'm usually very excited. I usually set French horror films on a very high pedestal, but based on recent experiences, I was going to give Teddy every fair opportunity to impress me on a level that wasn't unrealistic. And so not knowing exactly what to expect, I saw the trailer, I thought it looked good, but again, I actually thought Candisha looked good. And so having my fingers crossed that this would be somewhat watchable, I was relieved to say that it was actually a lot better than I thought. This was actually a very worthwhile film if you are a fan of French horror. It's not a French horror film that's going to revive the genre and make you feel as though you're back in the glory days of French horror, new wave extremity, but it's definitely one to watch if you are a fan of werewolf films. It's a very quirky movie. It's a very vibrant in its colouring. It's a very exaggerated sort of caricature world that I thought was very good. I thought the humour worked fairly well, and I actually thought there were some scary moments. And so, as I said, if you are a fan of werewolf films, this movie pays homage to those great werewolf films, and it was actually a lot darker than I expected. Is that the movie does have a lot of tones differences, but all those differences were handled very well, so I never felt as though I was watching a different film. I thought the acting was quite decent, and overall, as I said, if you are a French horror fan, it's nothing to really get excited about, but it's definitely a step in the right direction after such a recent disappointment. So you got the runtime that's about 88 minutes. You never really get bored. The story is actually quite, it sustains your interest at a very satisfactory level. I thought it was very quirky in the characters. It was a very offbeat sort of drama as well, with this guy trying to make sense of his life, and that was something that we can all relate to. You know, we always come to that part of life where we don't know exactly what to do. So it does gravitate you on a realistic level as far as that's concerned. And the relationship with his girlfriend I thought was actually quite emotional, because there were some moments at the end of the film that actually hit you quite hard. And his very strange family as well. So the very strange family, I thought, was actually, the family dynamic was actually quite interesting. And so I actually thought a lot of this movie worked, and as I said, it actually came as a welcome surprise, because it shows that maybe French horror is not down in the dumps like I thought it was. So if I have a problem with Teddy, is that the overall werewolf aspect of this movie I thought was a little bit weak. Now whether it was down to budget constraints, I don't know. If this is a low budget film, it doesn't look overly low budget, because the acting performances were fairly decent, and I actually thought the cinematography looked very good. So it's a very competently made movie as far as production is concerned, but I thought as though the werewolf aspects was actually quite weak, in that if you're expecting gore, you're going to be a little bit disappointed. If you're expecting great effects as far as werewolves are concerned, you're going to be a little bit disappointed as well. And so as far as that horror aspect, which is unfortunately the draw card to this movie, it does fall down short to some extent, and it does become a little bit of a disappointment. But pushing that aside, it's still a movie that I would definitely recommend. It's not overly scary, but it is very quirky and different, which is something that I can always applaud. So if you are a fan of French horror, as I said, don't get your hopes up that this is going to revive the genre and basically make French horror leap back into the leader of the world as far as horror is concerned, but it's definitely a movie that you can have a lot of fun with, and it's one that I definitely would say go out there and see, especially on a Friday night. But whether or not you want to watch it again remains to be seen. It just doesn't have that everlasting quality, but it's definitely a decent way to spend an hour and a half. So overall for Teddy, going to give this one 3 stars. Go out there and see it. I enjoyed it. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.